of course, more than a ritual. It is an act of remembering, the telling of a story, a Haggadah. And the Haggadah, the telling of the story, has been lovingly sustained throughout many, many generations. And each generation added something of its own. In the course of a single night, we encounter Hillel in the days of the Second Temple, the 2nd century sages and their Seder in Bnei Brak, the Amoraim of the 3rd and later centuries, poems by Yanai and Kalir from the post-Talmudic period, additions from the Ashkenaz, from Europe, provoked by the terrible suffering of the First Crusades, the children's song from medieval Germany, I love your dog, and in Ma Nishtana, the questions asked by a child, every question go back some 2,000 years. And of course, the list can go on and on and on and on to the times when the very first feminist women's Seder took place in 1975 in Haifa, in Israel. And the very first women's Haggadah was published. That very women's Haggadah was filled with stories about Jewish women in our ancient past, as well as contemporary Jewish women experiences. And the weaving together of these many contributions into a single narrative is truly the achievement of no ordinary order. And this order is Jewish people. We women of Temple Sinai added to this millennia-long narrative, we added our own voice, we added our unique perspective and ideas. We created our own friend of a friend, Haggadah. And it belongs to each and everyone who is joining us tonight. And it is dedicated to all of you. It is dedicated to the women of Temple Sinai. And tonight, we continue with another first. Our very first Zoom Seder, as Israelis call it, Zoom Seder. Virtual Seder tonight. And thanks to technology, it has made adapting tonight much easier. We are adopting. We have adopted for thousands of years and we're adopting again tonight. This is our strength. Here's to the strength of Jews and women everywhere. And next year we will once again, we'll be hugging each other and definitely dancing together. So it is my true honor now to ask Robin Corbin, our vice president, Temple Sinai vice president, who was at the helm of our creative team when we were writing this Haggadah last year, to tell us more about the writing of our gorgeous, gorgeous book. Robin.
Hi, everybody. I am Robin Corbin, vice president, one of the vice presidents of Temple Sinai. I am so excited to experience this virtual Seder with all of you. Welcome to everybody who has been to the Women's Seder before. Welcome to anybody who is new to our Women's Seder. This is really groundbreaking and so fun and interesting all at the same time. So just a little bit of background. I mean, I didn't really prepare anything. It was just off the cuff, but I don't know, it must have been like 3 years ago. I came across this website called Haggadah.com, and I must have 27 Haggadahs in my house, and every year I use a different one, and I hate them all because they're not personal, and I find myself mixing and matching. So anyway, so I found this site and I was able to actually create my own Haggadah. It was incredible. It was personal. It had little jokes pertaining to our family. I mean, it's not as beautiful as ours. It's just, you know, printed on paper and stuff like that. And then I guess it was what, 2 years ago, Cantor Elena, or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were.
I'm answering to someone.
Yes. And we were at a meeting and we were talking about our Haggadah, and at Temple, we weren't pleased with it either. We felt that it didn't speak to us. It didn't address us as a group of women and our needs and our feelings and our loves and likes. So I blurted out, well, let's make our own. And so basically that's how this project was born. And I did not do this alone. It was with Cantor Elena and Ginny and Kathy Diamond and Lauren Solomon. Jackie, Jill, and Debbie Sussman were instrumental in the creation of this. I mean, we all worked extremely hard to create this, and I want to thank all of the women who participated in the creation of this. We are very proud of it. We love it. We think that it speaks to all of us. All of us. I mean, wherever we are, however diverse we are, but it brings us all back together. And I just wanted to read the first part of it that's in the front because we skipped over it. And it says, this Haggadah is dedicated to women who have made, attended, and enjoyed a Passover Seder. Our women's intergenerational Seder is one of the most special events of every year. Friend of a friend wanted to make it even more meaningful. So in true Temple Sinai fashion, we sat down to put together our own Haggadah. You were all at the heart of this process. Every word, image, thought, and feeling was created with you in mind, exactly as you are now. It has been our privilege to create the Friend of a Friend Haggadah, written by and for the women of Temple Sinai. So enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Robin, for this beautiful introduction. And I'm so excited to invite now Rabbi Schachter, Rabbi Ilana, to her first Seder of Temple Sinai Friend of a Friend, our Women's Seder, and she will lead us on the next couple of pages and will tell us a little more about the Seder plate. Rabbi Ilana, yay!
Thank you, everybody. It's so nice to see everyone, and thank you for having me participate in this Seder with all of you. This is exactly how I pictured it when I came to Temple Sinai, so we're doing great so far. The Seder is multisensory. We experience our story through what we eat, what we drink, what we hold, what we say. Through all of these mechanisms, through all of these senses, we are able to reorient ourselves to the time of our escape and redemption from Egypt. The Seder plate is one of the most prominent examples of that. Each element of the Seder plate is symbolic and walks us through the Passover experience. So on the Seder plate, we have two bitter herbs, maror and chazeret, which allow us to taste the bitterness of slavery. We have to begin from a place of oppression so that we can gradually elevate ourselves physically and spiritually to this place of redemption. We also have charoset, a mixture of fruit, wine, or honey, and nuts, which symbolize the mortar that the Israelite slaves used to construct buildings for Pharaoh. One thing I learned today from Rabbi Jill Jacobs is that the word actually is connected to the Hebrew word for cheres, which means clay. So that we make charoset because it's supposed to look and it's supposed to resemble cheres. I also read a little tidbit for women today that one of the reasons why Ashkenazi Jews include apples in charoset was a nod to a midrash, a rabbinic story where Israelite women would go into the fields and seduce their husbands under apple trees in direct, as an act of defiance against the prohibition to reproduce during the time of slavery. So the women were in an act of resistance, and I felt like charoset will never quite be the same for me after learning that. Karpas is our leafy green vegetable, usually parsley, which has many symbols, but one is the initial flourishing of the Israelites during the first years in Egypt before Pharaoh's reign, but it also symbolizes a new spring, which is so prescient right now, that right around Passover every year, our first buds emerge, and we can look forward with anticipation to the warmth and the sense of possibility that comes with spring. The last two traditional elements of our Seder plate are references to the sacrificial times. Zroa, a lamb shank bone that symbolizes the lamb that we sacrificed as a Passover offering, as well as the beitzah, a roasted or hard-boiled egg that symbolizes a chagiga, or a festival sacrifice. Of course, the egg also has symbolism of hope and a renewed cycle of life. Even in the most painful times, we always imagine hope for a new beginning. On our Seder plate and many Seder plates today, we have an extra item, which is an orange, including and honoring the role of women and or gays or lesbians in Jewish life. The orange symbolizes the fruitfulness, the welcome additions that these previously marginalized communities bring to our life, and how grateful we are to include them, to have them on our Seder plate.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was very beautiful and very special. Thank you. And now we're ready to begin. We're on page 1. And I will ask now to please Lauren and Jenny to start us in the opening meditation. Lauren? And here's the technology piece, right?
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay.
Good to see you.
Lauren, I
Ready?
just want to remind everyone, even if you can unmute yourself, don't do it. Let me handle all the functioning. That's where the challenge came in. So let me just do all the little functions.
Okay.
Promise
Are you
it'll keep
ready?
going smoothly.
Yes.
Okay. We come together from our separate lives, each of us bringing our concerns, our preoccupations, our hopes, and our dreams. We are not yet fully present. The traffic, the last-minute preparations, the final details still cling to us. Our bodies hold the rush of the past few hours. It's now time to let go of these pressures and really arrive at this Seder. We do this by meditating together. Make yourself comfortable. You can close your eyes if you wish. Now take a few deep breaths. As you slowly exhale, let go of the tensions in your body and begin to quiet within.
When you're ready, repeat silently to yourself, Hineni, or here I am. Hineni is used in the Torah to signify being present in body, mind, and spirit. It means settling into where we are and simply being here. If you prefer, you can visualize the word. Let the word fill your body and mind. Feel the word fill with your breath so that you experience being fully present. Everything drops away and you're left in the unbounded state of here-ness. When a thought arises, just notice it and return to Hineni again and again. Let yourself be held in the state of Hineni. Meditate in this way for several minutes, long enough to become more present. Slowly open your eyes and look around the screen as we begin our journey together.
Beautiful. And we turn to the next page, to the lighting of the candles. And Rebecca White will lead us in the lighting of the candles.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Ma tovu sedarenu benot Yisrael ke'or chadash hameir olam. Women of Israel, the wonder of our Seders brings new light to the world. The Seder traditionally begins with a physical act, lighting the candles. In Jewish tradition, lighting candles and saying a blessing over them marks a time of transition, from the day that is ending to the one that is beginning, from ordinary time to sacred time. Lighting the candles is an important part of our Passover celebration because the flickering light reminds us of the importance of keeping the fragile flame of freedom alive in the world. As we light the festival candles, we acknowledge that as they brighten our Passover table, good thoughts, good words, and good deeds brighten our days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with laws and commanded us to light the festival lights. We express our gratitude for this occasion that brings us all together with the words of the Shechechianu prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has kept us alive, raised us up, and brought us to this happy moment.
We'll light the candles now and join in a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. On the next page, we continue with the order of the Seder. Kadesh Urchatz, Karpas Yachatz, Magid Rachza, Motzi Matzah, Maror Korech, Shulchan Orech, Tzafun Barech, Haleleni Nirtzah. And we're making holy on page 5. Michelle, please lead us.
Time can become holy. We elevate holidays by separating them from other times, such as the routine of daily living. We mark the Seder as holy time by beginning with a blessing. Our blessings and rituals remind us to focus on this time we have together, to keep it separate from what has come before and what will come after. By joining together around this table in celebration of hope and freedom, we make this time and this place sacred. Wine gladdens the heart. We will drink wine 4 times during the course of this Seder while reclining, twice before the meal and twice after the meal. Why 4? The Seder is a celebration of freedom, and so with each cup, we remember one of 4 promises of freedom made by God to the ancient Israelites as recorded in the Torah. Tradition says the cups represent the matriarchs. We remember Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah for their strength, vision, and influence as mothers. Tonight, we also dedicate our Seder and each glass of wine to the brave women who are so important, yet barely mentioned in our story. The midwives, Shifra and Pua. See, I could have named you Shifra and Pua. Just
Thank you.
Moses' mother, Yocheved, Pharaoh's daughter, and Moses' adoptive mother, Batya, and Miriam, a prophet and Moses' sister. They were women of action, prepared to defy authority to make their vision a reality. Without their quick thinking, intelligence, bravery, and actions, the Exodus would have been impossible and there would be no Passover.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Rebecca and Sarah, for participating. We're going to fill our first glass of wine. And we truly need it. Fill it up to the brim if you have it. The first glass of wine is dedicated to Shifra and Puah, the midwives who defied the Egyptian pharaoh's orders to slay all Jewish firstborn sons. Their courage allowed Moses to leave. And we ask you to please stand, and we're going to say these words in unison, all together. Please rise. I am standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me, recalling generations past, imagining those yet to be. We weave our lives into our traditions. We save what we value, what it takes to survive. We pass on the faith that lives in our deepest heart. We weave our rituals with the threads of our lives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, boreh peri hagafen. Amen. And we drink the first glass of wine, first cup. Please turn to the next page, and I would say in these times, this particular washing of the hands feels most appropriate. I have prepared my own Purell here. So I'm going to ask you, please, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm going to ask you to please take out your washcloths or water or your Purell or your wipes that you prepared. And we're all going to purify our hands. Not for 20 seconds, but for a couple of seconds. On the next page, on page 8, we continue with the renewal of springtime with Karpas, and I invite Tammy and Polly and then Kim to get ready. Tammy, please start us on page 8.
All right, ready? Wherever we live, the seasons change. For some, cold winter snows give way to the greening of spring. For others, winter rains are replaced by gentle breezes and long, pleasant evenings. The forces of nature are quite powerful, even when they seem mild. Judaism names God the author of these laws of nature. There are many names for God: Adonai, Eloheinu, higher power, almighty, savior, ruler, Lord, creator, rock, shelter, Shekhinah. Each reflects one of the many ways we experience the divine in our lives.
And then we're next. Oh, are we
Polly.
on?
Oh, hi.
Yes. Hello. Okay.
Do they hear us?
Yes. At this point in the Seder, it is a traditional to eat a green. The green vegetable represents rebirth, renewal, and growth. As you sit around the Seder table, you can taste the sweetness of spring and freedom.
Beautiful. Kim, are you with us?
I'm here.
Hooray. Great to see you.
But I don't see my page.
We can see you.
I know, but I thought I was doing page 9.
That's page 9.
We are mindful. Oh, right. Okay, hold on. Oh, but
Kim, are you using the screen or do you have a book with you?
We are
We cannot hear you well.
Where are you, Kim?
the tears of other people who are not. Hello? Can you hear
Hello,
me?
hello. We can hear you. Yes, we
Oh,
can hear you.
okay.
Great. You go ahead.
Did Kim just, I think she just disappeared. Yeah,
She's
she
not
just,
there.
she
She's
just,
not there anymore.
yeah, she dropped out of the group.
Okay, so maybe she'll come back later. So the salt water, I hope you have your salt water. The salt water represents the tears of enslavement, and we're mindful of the tears of other people who are not free. And together, may we never be so comfortable that we become complacent and forget the pain of others. May we always be able to feel the connection between our own struggle for freedom so long ago and today's struggles against oppression, wherever they occur. We're going to take parsley, spring vegetable, from your Seder plate, dip it in the salt water, and recite the following words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'adama. Praise the you, Holy One, sovereign of the universe, who creates the fruit of the earth. And now you can have a taste of your parsley or whichever other grain you prepared. It actually tastes really good. We're on the next page. We're on page 10, and Rabbi will lead us in separation, in Yachatz.
So the ritual known as Yachatz, which literally means to divide, orients our Seder in brokenness, as we recall our long and ongoing journey to physical and spiritual redemption. Our sacred text tells us that those who sow in tears will reap in joy, reminding us that those who may find themselves in a place of darkness will someday too find light and joy again. Even tonight, as we find ourselves in a world of brokenness, we celebrate the powerful message that we are a community united and on a journey to a more whole world. So now we will uncover the matzah, take out the middle matzah, and break it in half. The larger piece will be wrapped in a napkin to become our afikomen, to be eaten at the conclusion of the Seder. So we will say together the words in the middle of the page. We cannot forget those who remain behind in any land of persecution, fearful of growing public anti-Semitism or bigotry, to those of all humankind that strive to live a free and equal existence with all people of the world, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, and religion. We pledge our continued vigilance, support, and solidarity.
Thank you. On the next page, we begin the story of Exodus. We begin Magid. And I will ask you to please raise your matzah plate, and we're going to say it all together. This is the bread of affliction that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in need come and celebrate with us. Now we're here. Next year, may we be in the land of Israel. This year, we're still slaves. Next year, may we be fully and truly free. Halach ma'anya di'achalu avtana ba'avara b'mitzrayim. And Lulu will lead us in the 4 questions on the next page, page 12 and page 13.
The 4 questions prompt us to retell the Passover story that follows, whether we know the story well from years past or it's entirely unfamiliar to us. We can learn something new each time we hear it. The telling of the story of Passover is framed as a discussion with questions and answers. The tradition that the youngest person asks the questions reflects the idea of involving everyone at the Seder. Ma nashana halayla hazeh mikol halaylot, shebechol halaylot anu ochlin chametz umatzah, halayla hazeh kulo matzah. Shebechol halaylot anu ochlin sha'ar yirakot, halayla hazeh maror. Shebechol halaylot ein anu matbilin afilu pa'am echat, halayla hazeh shetei fa'amim. Shebechol halaylot anu ochlin ben yoshvein uvein misubin, halayla hazeh kulanu misubin.
Lula, would you mind if we'll invite now everybody to sing it together, and then we'll move on to the next page.
I was just going to say, I'm going to unmute everyone, and
Please, let's do this together.
Yep. Give me 1 second just to unmute everybody, and then I was going to say if we could all sing together. Give me 1 second. Okay, everyone should be able to be unmuted. Okay, ready? Cantor, you lead us in.
Are we ready? We're all unmuted?
Everyone's unmuted.
Here we go. You ready?
Awesome job, everybody. I'm going to go mute you all. So everybody is muted
Please
again.
Continue.
Right, but the Cantor and I. Yep. Okay. Are you ready, Cantor? So
why is this night different from all other nights?
Tonight we eat
on
the bread of affliction to remind us that we can never truly be free until all people everywhere can share in our freedom. Why is it that on all other nights we eat all kinds of herbs, but on this night we eat only bitter herbs? We eat these herbs to remember the stories of the bitterness of persecution. Why is it that on all other nights we do not dip our herbs even once, but on this night we dip them twice? We dip first in salt water because on this night we recognize that there are people whose tears still drench their food. Then we dip again in the charoset to represent not only the mortar that our enslaved ancestors were forced to use, but also the mortar that we must all use to build a better community and a sweeter world. Question 4. Why is it that on all other nights we eat either sitting or reclining, but on this night we eat in a reclining position? At a traditional Seder, a posture of reclining at the table is adapted into the celebration of freedom because it is a behavior historically allowed only for free people. Tonight, we celebrate our freedom with a call to action, challenging ourselves to understand that we cannot simply recline. There is still much work to do to impact the lives of others.
Thank you. We continue with the story about 4 daughters on page 14, and Rachel Lefkowitz will begin this telling.
Give me 1 second, Rachel, and I'm gonna unmute you. Be good.
Oh boy. Hi, everybody. As we answer the 4 questions, we are guided by the many ways each of us learns.
The 2 minutes.
Can you hear?
Hello? Okay, Rachel, start over.
Okay. The 4 daughters. As we answer the 4 questions, we are guided by the many ways each of us learns. Our tradition teaches us that there are 4 different kinds of children, and we should teach them according to their needs. Today, we recognize that every child is unique with an unlimited variety of characteristics. This is a bit of these 4 children in each of and every one. There is a bit of each of these 4 children in each and every one of us, sorry. Wherever our personal journeys may take us, we are always welcomed home. The wise daughter. The wise daughter understands that not everything is as it appears. She is the one who speaks up, confident that her opinion counts. She is the one who can take the tradition and ritual that is placed before her, turn it over and find personal meaning in it. She is the one who can find the secrets in the empty spaces between the letters of the Torah. She is the one who claims a place for herself, even if the men do not make room for her. Some call her wise and accepting. We call her creative and assertive. We welcome creativity and assertiveness to sit with us and inspire us to act. The wicked daughter. The wicked daughter is the one who dares to challenge the simplistic answers she has been given. She is the one who asks too many questions. She is the one not content to remain in her prescribed place. She is the one who breaks the mold. She is the one who challenges the status quo. Some call her wicked and rebellious. We call her daring and courageous. We welcome rebellion to sit with us and make us uneasy.
Elisa.
Yes?
You're up.
I am up. Okay. The simple daughter. The simple daughter is the one who accepts what she is given without asking for more. She is the one who trusts easily and believes what she is told. She is the one who prefers waiting and watching over, seeking and acting. She is the one who believes that the redemption from Israel was the final act of freedom. She is the one who follows in the footsteps of others. Some call her simple and naive. We call her the one whose eyes are yet to be opened. We welcome the contented one to sit with us and appreciate what is still to come. Daughter who does not know how to ask. Last is the daughter who does not know how to ask. She is the one who obeys and does not question. She is the one who has accepted men's definitions of the world. She is the one who has not yet found her own voice. She is the one who is content to be invisible. Some call us subservient and oppressed. We call her our sister. We welcome the silent one to sit with us and experience a community that welcomes the voices of women.
Thank you. And on page 17, we're going to raise your glasses. You're going to raise your glasses, but we are not going to drink this wine yet. And we're going to say together in the middle of page 17, the promise of freedom has been a source of strength to our ancestors, the women that came before us and to us. And we're going to return this glass back. And now on the next page, we will start telling the story of Exodus. Abby.
The story of Exodus. We begin our story in the land of Israel, formerly called Canaan. Jacob, grandson of Abraham and Sarah, had 12 sons. His son Joseph had the ability to interpret dreams and thus became Pharaoh's advisor. Foreseeing a great famine, he instructed Pharaoh to build a storehouse filled with grain. During the famine, Jacob brought his entire family to live in Egypt, where food was plentiful. They lived peacefully for many years and became known as the Israelites. Years later, a new Pharaoh, who knew nothing of Joseph, arose over Egypt. The new ruler found the Israelites' differences threatening and feared their growing numbers. He forced them into slavery and tried to break their spirits. The Egyptians set harsh taskmasters over the Israelites. The enslaved Israelites were forced to make brick and build cities and work the fields. They knew neither peace nor rest, only misery and pain, but they kept their faith and grew in number. Pharaoh remained determined to destroy them and ordered the midwives to kill all the Israelites' boys upon birth. Puah and Shiphrah, the midwives, courageously refused to obey.
Thank you. Barbara, would you continue, please?
I certainly will. The Israelites were determined to protect their children in any way possible. Midrash tells of the bravery of Yocheved, who saved her newborn son. She placed him in a basket and sent her daughter Miriam to watch over him as he floated down the Nile. The Pharaoh's daughter, while bathing in the river, saw the baby, felt pity, defied her father, and took him in as her own. She named him Moses, meaning drawn from the water. Miriam cleverly asked the princess if she needed a baby nurse, and thus Yocheved was reunited with her son. Through his mother, Moses learned of his heritage. Moses grew up in the royal palace. However, he was unable to bear the suffering of his people and killed an Egyptian who was beating a slave. Forced to flee, he became a shepherd. One day, Moses saw a bush on fire, but the branches did not burn up.
Susan?
Should I continue? I think it's for somebody else.
Yes, Susan.
Hi.
Is Susan with us?
All right. God called Moses from the midst of the flames, and Moses said, "Here I am." God told Moses, "I am the God of your ancestors. I have seen the suffering of the Israelites and have heard their cries." He instructed Moses and his brother Aaron to go back to Egypt to free the Israelites. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and demanded that he let the Israelites go free. But when Pharaoh refused to allow the people of Israel to leave Egypt, God sent plague after plague on Pharaoh and the Egyptians. 9 plagues were inflicted on the Egyptians, but still, Pharaoh remained stubborn until God sent the 10th plague, the killing of the firstborn. Before the final plague was inflicted, God instructed Moses to tell the Israelites to slay a lamb and smear its blood on the doorpost as a sign for God to pass over their homes.
Page 20. Leslie.
Only after this last and devastating plague did Pharaoh let the people of Israel go. The ancient Israelites left Egypt in a hurry. Fearing Pharaoh would not keep his word, the Israelites took their dough before it could rise and quickly fled. Soon Pharaoh regretted his decision and sent his army after them. The Israelites were trapped between the Red Sea and the approaching soldiers. God told Moses to raise his staff, and the waters parted. The Israelites safely crossed to freedom. Moses raised his staff again, and the waters closed in, drowning the Egyptian army. There is a time to think, a time to talk, and a time to dance. Free and safe, Moses' sister Miriam led the Israelites in a joyous celebration of song and dance. May the strength and bravery of the woman in the story of Exodus always inspire us.
Beautiful. And I'm going to share with you the words of the Miriam song. And I will ask you to join us in singing. You should be able to see it on your screens. Can you? Can you see it? Yes. Can you see it? Great. And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wore was one with sacred history. With every thread and every strand she did her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she danced for her delight. Sing together. And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. As Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the seas, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to free them and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice and sang, she sang to her praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. Thank you. I hope you were singing. Yay! On page 21. Well, Karen, would you start us in 10 plagues and Charlotte would follow? Karen?
Yes. Hold on.
For some reason, we're seeing the whole, yes.
Okay.
That's great.
As we rejoice at our deliverance from slavery, we acknowledge that our freedom was hard-earned and came at the cost of the Egyptian suffering. We should not rejoice fully when an enemy falls, because they too are human beings made in the image of God. Let us therefore lessen our own joy by dipping a finger in the wine and removing a drop for each plague. This year, as these drops spread across our plates, let us turn our hearts towards the millions of people around the world suffering today's plagues of hatred, prejudice, baseless violence, and war.
Thank you, Karen. Charlotte, would you lead us in the 10 plagues?
Absolutely. Dam, blood, we comfort and mourn those whose blood has been spilled. Spardea, frogs, we protest the proliferation of violence. Kinim, lice, we stop infestations of hatred and fear. Arav, wild animals, we appeal to all people to act with humanity. Dever, pestilence, we overcome the sickness of racism and bigotry. Shichin, boils, we tend to those who suffer from disease. Barad, hail, we respond to storms and disasters that claim lives. Arbe, locust, we fill the air with voices for change. Choshech, darkness, we bring light to those who live in the shadows. Makat becharot, death of the firstborn. We inspire the next generation to carry on the struggle for a better world.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. On the next page, on page 22, Lean.
The prophet Miriam watched over her baby brother Moses in the Nile. She inspired the Israelites with song and dance after crossing the Red Sea. According to tradition, a miraculous well accompanied the Israelites in the desert, providing them with fresh water and renewing their spirit until Miriam died. Miriam's cup filled with water, my cup,
Yes.
reminds us of her strength and bravery, without which the ancient Israelites may not have survived. It is the women who make the Exodus possible. Shiphrah and Puah, the midwives who disobeyed Pharaoh's order to kill all newborn boys. Yocheved and Miriam, the mother and sister of Moses, and Pharaoh's daughter Bacha, who rescued Moses from the Nile. Their daring actions began it all. It is because of them we are here tonight. It is because of them we are able to thank God for our freedom. Just as Miriam led us in song to God after we crossed through the parted water. With the ritual of Miriam's cup of water, we honor all Jewish women.
So pour a little bit of water into the Miriam's cup, and let's say the blessing together. It's right there on the bottom. You abound in blessing God, creator of the universe, who sustains us with living water. May we, like the children of Israel leaving Egypt, be guarded and nurtured and kept alive in the wilderness. And may you give us wisdom to understand that the journey itself holds the promise of redemption. And let us all say, Amen. And this is the place where we would usually dance with our tambourines around the room and sing. I am going to say that why don't we just play a little bit of Miriam's song for us and maybe have a Nagila, and we can just maybe have a Nagila. Let's do that. We don't have tambourines necessarily, but we have our hands. They do have tambourines, that's impressive. That was so good. On page 23. I don't know if you prepared your scallions. I have mine. Jill, you will lead us in the inner reading.
My pleasure. It would have been enough, Dayenu. The Seder song Dayenu reflects our gratitude for all that God did for the Israelites during the Exodus and throughout their desert journey. Dayenu also provides a powerful contemporary hashkafa outlook on life, a call to mindfulness about the way we currently lead our lives. From singing Dayenu, we learn to celebrate each landmark on our people's journey. Yet we must never confuse these way stations with the goal, because it is not yet Dayenu. There is still so much to do in our work of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. When children grow up in freedom without hunger and with the love and support they need to realize their full potential, Dayenu. When the air, water, fellow creatures and beautiful world are protected for the benefit and enjoyment of all, Dayenu. When people of all ages, sexes, races, religions, sexual orientations, cultures and nations respect and appreciate one another, Dayenu. When each person can say, this year I worked as hard as I could towards improving the world so that all people can experience the joy and freedom I feel sitting here tonight at the Seder table. Dayenu v'lo Dayenu. It will and it will not be enough. And Dayenu to all those people who are practicing social distancing and staying safe and keeping all of us safe. Scallion whips.
Thank you, thank you. And on the next page, let's sing Dayenu. Do you have your scallions ready? This beautiful accompaniment played by the other Cantor Schwartz. I hope our microphone is picking it up. On page 25, Lauren.
In every generation, each of us should look upon ourselves as if we were personally freed from ancient Egypt. Kol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa mi Mitzrayim. This is the signature statement of the Seder. It is the invisible thread that runs through the entire Seder, weaving all of its individual sections together. At the same time, it is a difficult idea for those of us who live freely to understand. How can we consider ourselves slaves when we have never known any form of enslavement? People can be enslaved in more ways than one, by poverty and inequality, by intolerance and bigotry, by ignorance and fear and hate. When we have the courage to do what is right for ourselves and for others, we are free. In every generation, there is also a thread connecting one generation to the next, transmitting Jewish identity in whatever form it takes and no matter the shape of the family. Had God brought us to the land of Israel and not built the temple for us, Dayenu. For each of these things and for all of them together, we say Dayenu.
Dayenu, indeed. On page 27, we raise our second cup, second glass. We raise the second cup of wine, which reminds us of God's second promise to free the Israelites from slavery. And we dedicate this glass of wine to Moses' mother, Yocheved. She gave birth to Moses, placed him in a basket and in the Nile, and became his wet nurse in the Pharaoh's palace, thus saving and sustaining his life. We're going to drink it Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim, take a sip. Rabbi Ilana, we're on page 28.
Great. Hello.
Hello. And this one we cannot skip, it's a must.
Okay, we have rochza. Hand washing may have taken on a new meaning for all of us recently. But even as early as our ancient days, we focused on washing our hands as a way of recognizing them as a conduit for sacred action, the nourishment of our own bodies. We recite the blessing together, holding up our hands. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
Praised are you, Holy One, Sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy with commandments and instructs us to ritually wash our hands.
Where are you? Thank you. And finally, if you do have some matzah in front of you, this is the time to get your first taste. And the blessing is on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And on page 31, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Enjoy the taste of matzah. Jill, please lead us on page 32.
Often Herosis or romaine lettuce to remember the bitterness of slavery. It is all too easy to feel our own bitterness at times. As we complete this ritual of Moror, we embrace all that we've received, the good with the bad. The choice is ours. We can be bitter with our lot, or we can focus on the gratitude which is good in our lives. Take a piece of Herosis or in horseradish, the herb, and say the following words. Praise Rahi, Holy One, Sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy with commandments and instincts. You eat the bitter herbs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al moror.
Beautiful. And you can actually dip it in your haroset a little bit just for fun, to sweeten it up a little bit. Very good. On page 33, Rabbi?
Bitterness and sweetness come side by side in life. In ancient times, the great teacher, Rabbi Hillel, combined maror with charoset, sandwiching the bitter with the sweet. The practice of eating the Hillel sandwich with sweet charoset reminds us of the duality of life. We continue this custom now by eating a Hillel sandwich.
So you can make a sandwich using matzah, put matzah together with maror and a little bit of haroset. And now is the time to enjoy your shulchan orech, your meal. If you prepared some hard-boiled eggs, that would be a perfect time to have it with a little bit of salty water. Egg signifies spring, the new beginning. And it also, of course, reminds us of the tears of our ancestors. So take a couple of minutes to enjoy your egg. Not bad. Well, did you actually, say it again?
I also want to.
Oh, Sergey says he also wants an egg. You can get into the picture, actually, you know. How about the afikomen? Did you find it? Did you look for it? Did you hide it in the first place? Kids? Anyone? Lefkowitz girls? Golden Girls? Sarah Charis, did you hide your afikomen? Are you looking for a prize? So this is the time to find it. So join me in a reading. There is no hiding in the dark, either from God or from ourselves. I really love this quote from Rabbi Amy Schneerman. Beautiful. Moving on. Third cup. We need to refill it. So the third glass of wine is dedicated to Batya, Pharaoh's daughter. She defied her father's decree and rescued Moses from the Nile. Although she knew he was a Jewish baby, she adopted him and raised him as her own. And we're going to raise the third glass and recite all together. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. And going to sing the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Enjoy. Well, next reading on page 40. Jeannie will lead us in the reading, and I don't know if you feel comfortable actually opening the doors that are next to you, maybe a door to another room, maybe a door to a hallway, maybe a door to your house. So take a minute, decide what you want to do, and Jeannie will lead us.
Elijah the prophet.
Thank you.
Hope, thank you. Hope is like peace. It is not a gift from God. It is a gift only we can give to one another. Thank you, Elie Wiesel. I think that's really especially important right now. I'm ad-libbing for a second, sorry, but that's just
absolutely.
That's just so important right now. Okay, I don't want to get up to open the door, so I'm just pretending that I'm opening the door.
Yep.
And Elijah's cup. This is Elijah's cup. We set aside this cup and open the door to our home to welcome Elijah the prophet, who, according to Jewish tradition, will announce the coming of the Messiah. The Messianic time is said to be a more perfect world, free from judgment and persecution and war. We can work toward that vision now by creating spaces where anybody who wants to participate in the Jewish community is celebrated and welcomed. This Seder is one of our spaces. We fill Elijah's cup together to acknowledge that Elijah will not come until we work together to bring more justice in the world.
Do you have your Elijah's cup right there? So
I didn't know
I suggest that you pour a little bit from your cup into Elijah's cup.
Okay.
And we're going to join.
Okay.
Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Bimhera b'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Im Moshiach ben David, Im Moshiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagilati. We're coming to almost to the conclusion of our Seder, and I'm turning to page 42, and I will ask Jackie to lead us on page 42 and page 43.
Okay.
In those two readings.
Okay.
I will ask you to please pour your fourth cup.
Okay, I just wanted to say if Kim is still on here, you could share page 43 with me. I know you got bumped off before, but I will read.
Kim,
the
Kim,
fourth
if you're there, would you be able to share this page with the reading with Jackie?
Kim Levine, you on there still?
Kim, you're muted. You can speak.
Kim, are you on there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I don't
Hi,
know.
Kim. Yes, we can hear you now. Do you want? How about you want to do page 42 because that person isn't here?
Okay.
Good.
But I didn't practice.
It's English.
Okay.
The fourth cup, your favorite.
Wine. Are we doing it together?
No, you go.
Okay. The fourth cup of wine that we drink tonight corresponds to God's fourth promise to free the Israelites from their slavery. The fourth cup of wine is also for Miriam, the prophet, and Moses' sister. We have several reasons to celebrate her. She arranged for Yocheved, Moses' mother, to become his wet nurse in the palace, and therefore allowed him to live with his true mother and learn his destiny. In addition, Miriam has been credited with providing the well of living water that accompanied and sustained the people on their journey. We dedicate the fourth cup of wine to all the women here tonight. With this final cup, we give thanks for the experience of celebrating Passover together, for the traditions that help inform our daily lives and guide our actions and aspirations. We each make a promise to take action to create a world that is free.
Fill your glass.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I will take you to be my people, and I will be your God.
And we're going to sing the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei beri hagafen.
Now drink the wine.
Amen. Now drink the wine.
Okay, last part, Kimmy.
Last part of this now. Okay, our Seder is nearly complete. We have turned an evening meal into a celebration of memory and community, and our challenge now is to take this moment and carry it with us after we leave, so that we can continue to see the sacred in the routine of daily life.
Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to participate. That was great. Thank you. Jackie.
Yes, okay. Seeking acceptance, Nirtzah. Our gathering around this virtual table brings us closer to the final promise of the Seder, redemption. The world will be redeemed through acts of goodness, beginning with embracing all those who join us tonight. Through our coming together, may we all be redeemed. We say together the following words, which represent an expression of solidarity with the Jewish people and a longing for spiritual redemption. In every generation, we all should feel as though we ourselves had gone forth from Egypt. As it is written, and you shall explain to your child on that day, it is because of what God did for me when I myself went forth from Egypt. We end our Passover Seder by saying in unison, okay, everybody.
Lulu, can you unmute us all?
Okay, so we say in unison. 1, 2, 3. We are each of us
working to meet challenges in our lives.
We are grateful.
We are grateful to be here together for tonight's Seder. Wherever the next year takes us, we look forward to celebrating Pesach again, together with the friends and family, beloved and long beloved.
The slavery
May slavery give way to freedom. Hate give way to love. Ignorance give way to wisdom. Despair give way to hope.
Think of it.
At this time, may everyone everywhere be free.
Next year.
No, it's not 60 participating.
Well, I want to really thank you all for participating in our very first ever virtual Temple Sinai Seder Nashim, Women's Seder. And say it again? Hopefully the last one. Well, it's probably not going to be the last one for this year, but hopefully the last one for the years to come. Thank you, Sergey. And I want to thank all of you who participated. Thank you, Jackie, for helping us organize the Seder. Thank you, Lulu. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Rabbi Lana, for participating and leading us so beautifully. And we would love to leave you with a blessing composed by David Friedman with Tfilat Haderek. I think at this time, we are all praying for blessings. We're praying for health more than anything else right now. And with the health, the joy will come. We're a beautiful community of women. And we're looking forward to many, many more celebrations together. And hopefully in the very near future, we will have a big party and we will all dance together. But for now, let's pray together. Tfilat Haderek. As we go on our way, guided in peace. One gallery. We bless with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. May this be a blessing. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. Be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety in a love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. Sing together. May this be our blessing. Amen. May this be our blessing.
Before everyone hangs up, I just want to ask us all a favor. We want to share these experiences with the rest of our community. So before you hang up, if you want to take a picture of your screen, take a picture of your Seder plate, show us something of what you celebrated tonight or who you were with tonight. You could either make a post directly in Facebook for yourself or on the Temple Sinai group. You could email it to Jackie at friendofafriend@mysinai.org. You can email myself, the cantor or the rabbi. We just really want to get the message out there that we're still going strong and the community's here and supporting each other. So please show your support for the activities and things that we're trying to provide and share it on Facebook for us.
Hooray. Thank you so much, Lulu. I'm still taking pictures. Please do not leave. Please do not leave. We're still taking pictures.
Andrew, I got a photo of every one of the screens before of gallery view, so I got that for us. And I've also taken photos of some of the gallery. So
and we have so much more coming for you during this Passover season. pre-Passover and Passover season. So stay tuned and participate in everything we're offering to our wonderful, wonderful Temple Sinai family. Stay well and almost happy Passover. Thank you for joining us.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Laila Tov.
Lila Tov, everyone. Good night, Cantor.